that note, Callum Lyle has a super chat here for 5 Australian that says, Chris, I saw your review of Indy 5 and the Karen.
Oh, no.
No wonder everyone hates modern day West women. MGTOW for me. So yes, Chris Gore, you've seen The Thing.
Oh.
The Thing that we're all dreading. It's coming out in just under 2 weeks. Or just
unfortunately, I'd rather it never came out.
Yeah, it's roughly that. So, what is your initial thoughts? What can we expect? The truth. It sounds like a lot of the leaks were true. Tell us what you thought.
The leaks were true. It does feel as if the movie had some meddling in the sense that they had one ending and they reshot to create another ending. It's briefly, it's the first 20 minutes of the movie feels like a copy of a really good Indiana Jones film. You have a young Harrison Ford using deepfake technology that is, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's the best we've seen. It's heads and tails above, Princess Leia and Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One, which I thought looked very digital. This looks less digital and looks pretty good. I actually could have watched an entire movie with a young Indiana Jones, using that technology. Why didn't they make that movie? Because after that first 20 minutes, which is an action sequence involving antiquities on a train being sent to Hitler on the way to Hitler at the end of World War II as World War II is ending. And they're in pursuit of a couple of specific antiquities. Indy, along with his friend Basil, who is the father of a woman named Helena, which we'll meet later in the story. We cut to the present day, late 60s. It's the day of retirement for Indy. He's teaching a class, and a young woman in the back knows every single answer and is the smartest and the bestest ever. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, Helena, which is the daughter of Basil, who we saw in the opening sequence, who has since passed away, was obsessed with the Dial of Destiny and what it could do. It's a device to travel through time. I'm not going to get into spoilers here on the film.
Honestly, I don't even think you need to, because anybody who wants to know already knows, and anybody who was holding themselves off, because I think you can talk cryptic enough if you have to, but otherwise,
check out my video on the Film Threat YouTube channel, or just look at Reddit. Those are accurate. Those are accurate. All of those spoilers. The thing about this movie is a couple things. One, they made Indiana Jones feeble. There's a sequence where Helena and Indy are scaling the side of a cave, and he's complaining about his shoulders and knees, and he's hurt, and she's kind of mocking him. He is reluctantly on this journey with her. It's really her story, where she is in pursuit of this because her father was obsessed with it, and she wants to kind of complete that. And Indy's kind of along for the ride, and she's unlikable. It's not like, for example, we've seen these characters. There are 3 I'm going to reference. Okay. You've got Helena now here, it's almost as if this character was written for an audience of 1, and that audience is Kathleen Kennedy. She likes this type of character. But you look at Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I think she was miscast, and the role was poorly written. And then you have Daisy Ridley as Rey, which I think Daisy Ridley is actually very likable. I think she's very well cast, but that story was so poorly written. Her story, the story of Rey's character and character arc over the course of 3 movies, is an embarrassment and terrible and awful. But Daisy Ridley likable. I mean, that sort of made it it's undeniable. She's likable in interviews. She is likable as a character. I think she's very beautiful. Those same things cannot be said about Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I'm sorry to say. I think she's incredibly unlikable. I think her character is just borderline insufferable through the film. She's only in it for the money, or so she says, because of course there's a very predictable character arc where you realize she's not only in it for the money, almost like taking from Han Solo. And there are specific scenes and lines and things that Helena does that Indiana Jones would have done in the old days. A very specific sequence where she has an interaction with a man named Rahim, who is in his pajamas wielding a machete. She somehow double-crossed him, and he's after her, and she does this kind of walk back of, oh, hey, Rahim, haha. Like trying to like explain her, talk her way out of a bad situation, which ends up being a dual chase scene with the CIA chasing Indy and Helena in those go-karts, along with Rahim also chasing her. She has a sidekick named Teddy, who is I would describe as, there's a really funny sketch on Key and Peele called The Magical Negro that makes fun of the trope of that very thing, the magical Negro. It's like a magical black person in a movie who just has almost spiritual powers. And this has been seen in so many movies. It's kind of embarrassing and stupid. Well, that's Teddy. He's the magical person of color. They met in Morocco. And in many instances, you get, unnecessary in the film, by the way. It's 2.5 hours and you feel it. You get Helena's backstory. You see Helena as a 12-year-old girl, which was the last time that she and Indy had an interaction with her father. You hear the story of how Helena befriended Teddy and he became her sidekick. Like, they're setting her up. And even the ending, which I won't go into, the movie ends with, Indy at home, whatever. You see a little iris in on his hat. She doesn't take the hat, but it's made very clear that Helena is off on another adventure with Teddy. And she's sort of running through the streets of New York, and Indy is just sitting there injured, nursing his wounds with Marion at the very end of the film in his New York apartment, because for the third act, he's been shot in the chest. I don't know why they made this film this way. I don't know who this is for. Is it for fans of the original Indiana Jones? No, because I am one and I hated it. Is it for new fans? I don't think they'll like it. And if they're trying to build Helena up and to be a character of her own, which will go off on other adventures in the late 60s with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, that's not going to happen. She is the reason the movie doesn't work, but it's also the writing. And I will say, though, on that note, which is going to sound strange, compliments to James Mangold. The rumored budget for this thing is north of $300 million. It's on the screen. I mean, epic sequences, really great casting of even the most minor characters. He did, it's almost like, I don't know, this is a compliment. It's almost like AI made this movie in the sense that he gets so many details right. There are so many minor characters that are memorable because he cast so well. Like, they're very recognizable. As soon as you introduce a minor character, you recognize they're a type, right? And you follow them, and it's that good mix of action, humor, Indy in impossible situations, and kind of improvising his way out of them, in pursuit of a goal. But James Mangold, I think, did a really great job. I don't think he is to blame. It is truly the script and Kathleen Kennedy, what she's trying to push with. I mean, it's everything that you despise about the sort of modern feminist character is embodied in one character. This movie will be an example as to why this doesn't resonate. In addition, one last thing about her, it's made very clear that she sleeps around to get ahead. She slept with Rahim. She sees a shirtless guy as they're about to go scuba diving and says, "Oh, well, my day's getting better." You see them in another location and there are a bunch of foreign men hanging around, and she's like, "Oh, gonna be fun today." It's made very clear that she's just banging dudes left and right, which seems really weird. I don't know that
Kathleen Kennedy's projecting something.
It felt strange. It just felt like, is this?
She may be lacking something in her life.
It just felt like, and this, so there's like 3 key moments where like Phoebe Waller-Bridge, it's just made very clear that she's like, she's not looking for a boyfriend, not looking for a husband. She's just looking for some D. So there you go. Some foreign D, so to speak. It felt uncomfortable and awkward. There are also moments in the movie, and I saw it was an all critic screening this was about a week ago. And it was made very clear, like it was all the critics that are it's basically the home team, right? It's the all media screening. So this was the home team in the sense that, these are critics that will be softer on the movie. I think you can expect to see the Rotten Tomatoes score go up because of that. I think the critics that were actually at Cannes were legit critics who are fairly honest. I'm not saying that the critics that are in LA here are not legit. I'm saying that many of them throw softballs. They want to remain on Disney's list. I don't know why I'm still on it, but I'm appreciate it. But whatever. I think this movie's going to tank. I think it's. While The Flash did tank, The Flash has a lot of things that are enjoyable. I'd say the only thing that's enjoyable about this is probably the first 20 minutes. The ending, that third act, is a colossal disappointment. Was not well thought out. It's just bad. And Helena's there were moments where the movie kind of stops, like, and here's where we're going to leave a little bit of break for you to applaud or laugh. And it doesn't happen. So
awkward.
Yeah, the audience was very polite through the screening, polite, kind of tepid, like laughs and whatever. They did applaud at the very end, maybe because it was over, but why they would cast Phoebe Waller-Bridge in this, no track record of box office. They would have been better off bringing on someone like a Jennifer Lawrence. If they were gonna do, Jennifer Lawrence is likable. I mean, as much as she said something stupid in an interview that got over.
Jennifer Lawrence is too pretty, and remember, attractophobia is real, Chris. That's the problem.
But what I'm saying is that Jennifer Lawrence is likable. I genuinely think she's likable. She is one of the producers on this No Hard Feelings movie. I think she's smarter than she's given credit for. You don't win Oscars for bad acting. I like, so may cast someone likable who's maybe got a track record of being in big things, so Phoebe Waller-Bridge is the biggest mistake of the movie. And typical of Hollywood, she will go on to bigger success and get bigger deals. And I'm sure she's doing the meeting circuit now to close on something before this movie opens, because after this movie opens, she's going to be radioactive.
Phoebe Waller is just, for some reason, you're right. Like, she's been this mixture of like Jai Courtney mixed with whatever creative was the flavor of the week that never really turned out to be anything, right? Like and I think you're right, Chris. I hope that the time clock on her is ticking out and we're done with this. She is not the talent that everybody makes her out to be. She had one success. She has destroyed 3 franchises now. Give her a rest.
And also, the initial rumor reported by Doomcock that the original ending for the movie was setting up her to
I believe it.
Indiana Jones. WDW Pro, for those of you who watch the clip later, will already have dropped this, but when we're recording, it's not yet dropped. He is dropping a video in the very near future confirming that there was indeed a redone ending. So hashtag Doomcock was right. And
I think that's the most obvious thing. Yeah.
When this video drops, you'll see why I have an inkling of why it's coming. We dodged a bullet there. She was absolutely primed to be.
Well, I think that's what that series was.
Exactly.
And I think that's another reason why it's gotten shit canned or delayed in quotations. I think that's one of the ones that got shit canned, though.
I think it's definitely. Again, first reported that it was canceled, and then somebody tried to put a coat of paint on it to say it was just delayed for an extended period. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Things toast.
Well, And to kind of shift into something we were to where we were going to talk anyway, before we lose Chris too soon here. Basically, this is not a good outlook for Indiana Jones. They're predicting it's going to have, or projecting it's going to have, a 60 million opening. That's not good. No, especially considering they've been way off on their projections all year, all the way through underestimating Mario to overestimating everything else. And when I say everything else, I literally mean everything else. As we pointed out before, because this weekend is a grand example, because you had both Flash and Elemental underperform well under projections, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And because remember, in the video that we dropped earlier today, we dropped a post-mortem about the movie. And the numbers that we were talking about there was that it was projected to make from 70 to 75 million. However,
actually, it was a lot higher than that originally.
Were from Wednesday. If we go a few weeks back in time, it was projected to open to 120 million. And even that would have been bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't expect the film to open well. Chris kind of outlined the very reason why this is going to turn audiences off from the very first frame. And, to me, if you're familiar with Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I mean, the only thing she can play is herself, and she comes off as a bit of a, sleep around kind of person. And, everything from Fleabag to anything else that she's ever done has been highly sexualized with her particular brand of feminism. And I think that, bringing that to the table in an Indiana Jones film, where at best the romance has been kept very muted, just overt sexuality and, whatever wave of feminism you want to call her, I think it's not going to play well for this audience. And they need the male audience, just not the way they're trying to get the male audience. And I think everybody's right here, between Paulie, Chris, and everybody. I think this is targeted at a particular group of film goers that just don't really truly exist. There's a very small cadre of these folks, and the rest of us are like, we're done with this. Thanks.
Also, there's another reason why this movie is going to tank. Mm-hmm. There's no mystery here. This movie, for anyone that dares to look, and who's going to want to be interested in looking for what happens here, since spoilers are so readily available, because you now have had multiple thousands that actually have seen it and have leaked the whole thing online. Anyone who's interested in going to see it in the first place, which I submit ain't that many, because Indiana Jones overshot his mark. The right time for a new Indiana Jones movie was time of the Curse of the Golden Skull, or Crystal Skull, or whatever the hell it was. But it was the wrong movie. It was the wrong movie. And this time right now, it comes on the heel of the wrong movie. And it's too late. And those who are interested, they're going to see right away that, this movie ain't for me.
Well, Kathleen actually succeeded in her mission to get rid of 50-year-old plus out of the audience. Boy, did she. Well,
success, I guess. Yeah.
Which means generationally, your products will be accepted by fewer and fewer numbers, because the dads and the grandpas aren't taking the kids to see these films anymore.
That's the only thing, Culture, I think that this movie might have a shot at, because this is the weird thing, and I said this last week. I was talking movies with my dad, and the only movie he brought up this summer was Indiana Jones. Unless they are a demographic that are not being accounted for in this opening culture, like with Top Gun, I don't see this movie doing anything. That's the thing.
But I will tell you, I was excited as my age group, 50 plus. I was excited to see Top Gun Maverick, and I told you it was going to do wonderful. I'm telling you, being a part of the demographic that, again, Kathleen Kennedy eliminated, I have no interest in seeing Indiana Jones. The only reason I'm seeing it is so the audience doesn't have to, because I'm going to give you a perspective that won't differ all that much from Chris's and many others. I'm just saying,
if there's enough people like my dad who actually want to see men their age on screen, that might be a factor. But is there that many?
Not for long, because
I don't know.
Men like your dad aren't on Twitter and they're not going to get spoilers in advance, they're gonna go on their old payphones, gonna ring all their friends and say, "Don't go see this movie, it's a piece of shit."
Well, and I think you got a point there, Andre, because I think
Well,
this
fine.
weekend
There are
show-
landlines then. It's
No,
gonna
no, no,
go
no,
on
no.
this
I
landline.
that joke aside, I think you have a point here. This last weekend, it proved that Michael Keaton wasn't enough to get people back in for Batman. I mean,
did I nail that or did I not?
No, it's a credit to you in a sense that I thought that enough of the regular folk didn't give a shit about Ezra. So that's the question we have to ask.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 AM Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe and join us.